Section 3 of 100 Proofs that the Earth is not a Globe. Recording by Larry Wilson. 100 Proofs that the Earth is not a Globe by William Carpenter. 46. It has been shown that an easterly or a westerly motion is necessarily a circular course round the central north. The only north point or center of motion of the heavenly bodies known to man is that formed by the North Star, which is over the central portion of the outstretched earth. When, therefore, astronomers tell us of a planet taking a westerly course round the sun, the thing is as meaningless to them as it is to us, unless they make the sun the northern center of the motion, which they cannot do. Since then the motion which they tell us the planets have is on the face of it absurd, and since as a matter of fact the earth can have no absurd motion at all, it is clear that it cannot be what astronomers say it is, a planet, and if not a planet, it is a proof that earth is not a globe. 47. In consequence of the fact being so plainly seen by everyone who visits the seashore that the line of the horizon is a perfectly straight line, it becomes impossible for astronomers, when they attempt to convey pictorially an idea of the earth's convexity, to do so with even a shadow of consistency; for they dare not represent this horizon as a curved line, so well known it is that it is a straight one. The greatest astronomer of the age, in page 15 of his Lessons, gives an illustration of a ship sailing away, as though she were rounding the top of a great hill of water. And there, of truth, is the straight level line of the horizon, clear along the top of the hill from one side of the picture to the other. Now if this picture were true in all its parts, and it is outrageously false in several, it would show that the earth is a cylinder, for the hill shown is simply up one side of the level, horizontal line, and we are led to suppose down the other. Since then we have such high authority as Professor Richard A. Proctor that the earth is a cylinder, it is certainly a proof that the earth is not a globe. 48. In Mr. Proctor's Lessons in Astronomy, page 15, a ship is represented as sailing away from the observer, and it is given in 5 positions or distances away on its journey. Now in the first position its masts appear above the horizon, and consequently higher than the observer's line of vision. But in its second and third positions, representing the ship as further and further away, it is drawn higher and still higher up above the line of the horizon. Now it is utterly impossible for a ship to sail away from an observer under the conditions indicated, and to appear as given in the picture. Consequently the picture is a misrepresentation, a fraud, and a disgrace. A ship starting to sail away from an observer, with her masts above his line of sight, would appear indisputably to go down and still lower down towards the horizon line, and could not possibly appear, to anyone with his vision undistorted, as going in any other direction, curved or straight. Since then the design of the astronomer-artist is to show the earth to be a globe, and the points in the picture, which would only prove the earth to be cylindrical if true, are not true, it follows that the astronomer-artist fails to prove pictorially either that the earth is a globe or a cylinder, and that we have therefore a reasonable proof that the earth is not a globe. 49. It is a well-known fact that clouds are continually seen moving in all manner of directions, yes, and frequently in different directions at the same time, from west to east being as frequent a direction as any other. Now if the earth were a globe revolving through space from west to east at the rate of 19 miles in a second, the clouds appearing to us to move towards the east would have to move quicker than 19 miles in a second to be thus seen, whilst those which appear to be moving in the opposite direction would have no necessity to be moving at all, since the motion of the earth would be more than sufficient to cause the appearance. But it only takes a little common sense to show us that it is the clouds that move just as they appear to do, and that therefore the earth is motionless. We have then a proof that the earth is not a globe. 50. We read in the inspired book, or collection of books called the Bible, nothing at all about the earth being a globe or a planet, from beginning to end, but hundreds of allusions there are in its pages which could not be made if the earth were a globe, and which are therefore said by the astronomer to be absurd and contrary to what he knows to be true. This is the groundwork of modern infidelity. But since every one of many, many allusions to the earth and the heavenly bodies in the Scriptures can be demonstrated to be absolutely true to nature, and we read of the earth being stretched out above the waters, as standing in the water and out of the water, of its being established that it cannot be moved, we have a store from which to take all the proofs we need, and we will just put down one proof, the scriptural proof that the earth is not a globe. 51. A standing order exists in the English Houses of Parliament that in the cutting of canals, etc., the datum line employed shall be a horizontal line which shall be the same throughout the whole length of the work. Now, if the earth were a globe, this order could not be carried out, but it is carried out. Therefore, it is proof that the earth is not a globe. 52. It is a well-known and indisputable fact that there is a far greater accumulation of ice south of the equator than is to be found at its equal latitude north. And it is said that the Kerguelen, 50 degrees south, 18 kinds of plants exist, whilst in Iceland, 15 degrees nearer the north center, there are 870 species. And indeed all the facts in the case show that the sun's power is less intense at places in the southern region than it is in corresponding latitudes north. Now, on the Newtonian hypothesis, all this is inexplicable, while it is strictly in accordance with the facts brought to light by the carrying out of the principles involved in the zetetic philosophy of parallax. This is proof that the earth is not a globe. 53. Every year the sun is as long south of the equator as he is north, and if the earth were not stretched out, as it is in fact, but turned under, as the Newtonian theory suggests, it would certainly get as intensive a share of the sun's rays south as north. But the southern region being, in consequence of the fact stated, far more extensive than the region north, the sun having to complete its journey round every 24 hours, travels quicker as he goes farther south, from September to December, and his influence has less time in which to accumulate at any given point. Since then the facts could not be as they are if the earth were a globe, it is proof that the earth is not a globe. 54. The aeronaut is able to start his balloon and remain for hours in the air at an elevation of several miles, and come down again in the same county or parish from which he ascended. Now, unless the earth dragged the balloon along with its 19 miles a second motion, it must be left far behind in space. But since balloons have never been known thus to be left, it is proof that the earth does not move, and therefore a proof that the earth is not a globe. 55. The Newtonian theory of astronomy requires that the moon borrow her light from the sun. Now, since the sun's rays are hot and the moon's light sends with it no heat at all, it follows that the sun and moon are two great lights, as we somewhere read, and the Newtonian theory is a mistake, and that therefore we have a proof that the earth is not a globe. 56. The sun and moon may often be seen high in the heavens at the same time, the sun rising in the east and the moon setting in the west, the sun's light positively putting the moon's light out by sheer contrast. If the accepted Newtonian theory were correct, and the moon had her light from the sun, she ought to be getting more of it when face to face with that luminary, if it were possible for a sphere to act as a reflector all over its face. But as the moon's light pales before the rising sun, it is a proof that the theory fails, and this gives us a proof that the earth is not a globe. 57. The Newtonian hypothesis involves the necessity of the sun, in the case of a lunar eclipse, being on the opposite side of a globular earth, to cast its shadow on the moon. But since eclipses of the moon have taken place with both the sun and the moon above the horizon, it follows that it cannot be the shadow of the earth that eclipses the moon, that the theory is a blunder, and that it is nothing less than a proof that the earth is not a globe. 58. Astronomers have never agreed amongst themselves about a rotating moon revolving round a rotating and revolving earth. This earth, moon, planets, and their satellites all, at the same time dashing through space around the rotating and revolving sun towards the constellation Hercules at the rate of 4 millions of miles a day. And they never will. Agreement is impossible. With the earth a plane and without motion, the whole thing is clear. And if a straw will show which way the wind blows, this may be taken as a pretty strong proof that the earth is not a globe. 59. Mr. Proctor says, "The sun is so far off that even moving from one side of the earth to the other does not cause him to be seen in a different direction. At least the difference is too small to be measured." Now, since we know that north of the equator, say 45 degrees, we see the sun at midday to the south, and that at the same distance south of the equator we see the sun at midday to the north, our very shadows on the ground cry aloud against the delusion of the day and give us a proof that earth is not a globe. 60. There is no problem more important to the astronomer than that of the sun's distance from the earth. Every change in the estimate changes everything. Now, since modern astronomers in their estimates of the distance have gone all the way along the line of figures from 3 millions of miles to 104 millions, today the distance being something over 91 million, it matters not how much, for not many years ago Mr. Hind gave the distance accurately as 95,370,000. It follows that they don't know, and that it is foolish for anyone to expect that they ever will know, the sun's distance. And since all this speculation and absurdity is caused by the primary assumption that the earth is a wandering heavenly body, and all is swept away by a knowledge of the fact that earth is a plane, it is clear proof that the earth is not a globe. End of section 3.